Basically, the premise of this film is a young man named Freddie gets a job at a medical warehouse. The medical warehouse is named Unita.
Stuff, dude.
Unita Warehouse. This is the Return of the Living Dead weed.
Really?
This is the Return of the Living Dead.
Did you get in touch with somebody and find some stuff? That tastes like your regular stuff.
No, I got my regular stuff and just called it what I wanted to call it.
Why does it taste?
Don't worry about it. Just know that it tastes good.
Okay.
Fist bump me right now. Lau's my best friend of all time. I love this man to death. We're close to lovers except for sex.
It's strictly platonic.
It's platonic.
We're like best friends.
Anyway, without further ado, I do want to get to this film because the fans are hardcore to the core. Okay, this film inspired me to not only write horror films, but I have an affinity for I guess zombies. Zombies are huge because of The Walking Dead right now, but what a lot of people don't realize is this film in 1985
was pivotal.
Redefined.
The actual term is pivotal.
Exactly.
And it became the formula for the modern zombie. Without this, there would be no expansions to and wherein we wouldn't have even got to The Walking Dead.
The Walking, I almost feel like here's the deal with the Return of the Living Dead. John Russo was one of the people that helped create Night of the Living Dead with George A. Romero.
Right.
Okay.
Which is also in itself extremely
pivotal.
Very much a catalyst.
A lot of people don't realize zombies existed before Night of the Living Dead.
Zombies before this movie, there was no comical brains or zombies didn't get nutrients from you in any way. It didn't even have to be your brains. Zombies, with quotations, the Living Dead. I guess that would be more parentheses. They didn't in any way want or need to ingest any sort of nutrients or life force from you. This movie
was strictly flesh eaters,
and the rules changed. This movie came out and it changed. It brought forth that modernized.
In the film, they tie down a half corpse. And they are able. These zombies talk. These zombies run. Yeah. These zombies are very intelligent, and you find out why zombies eat people. Not necessarily people, but their brains. This movie created that trope.
It was the first. Exactly. It was the first of that sort of what you would call an ethos, or dogma, what the zombie is. And how it is characterized in movies and shit like that.
Anytime you see zombies in Family Guy, Simpsons, anything reference zombies, they're always going after brains.
Yes.
And this is what that film created. Where of course, I don't know if we've announced it yet.
If you think, which is...
We're watching The Return of the Living Dead.
Which we totally just...
it's a Dan O'Bannon film made in 1985.
We announced.
I know.
You're high.
Listen.
Keep smoking that.
This film, and I want to tell you personally, this film is the reason I love horror.
Oh, it was because of this film. There were other people that were inspired. It's like, hey, like we don't. When we make the films, we make the rules rather than making this film to expand on a set of knowledge, dogma, epic, or reason before. Catalyst for change, which is what this movie is.
This film also acknowledges that Night of the Living Dead was indeed a film in this universe.
Right. So before, take it as a vampire film, which I'm very sure we'll probably get into some vampiric deals.
Oh, we're gonna do a lot of horror
on this. Which
is only the beginning.
Which are like sitting down watching movies together. This is completely different than our regular podcast. We do not fret. We are still going to have our regular podcast.
This is an extension.
Worry. This is merely an extension.
This is an extension of our original podcast.
Regular programming still applies.
what we're gonna do is we're gonna watch a film, and we're gonna commentate that film. And I thought that would be such a great thing to do, such an original. I love horror films.
Just think of all the times me and you would sit and just like back in the day when we were kids, and we just watch movies. And this is a movie we watched apart and together loads of times, and we'd sit and we'd talk about it. We'd express to each other how we felt.
These films are going to be very corny,
how
very
great we
cheesy.
Thought it was.
They're fun.
It's us that you're going to be listening to exploring that.
Right now, we're going to do so many films that it blows my mind. I love horror films, and this is exciting.
This is not your regular weed. I guess maybe your dude got some better shit.
Okay, you insult my dude live.
I'm not trying to insult your dude. I didn't say no names, dude.
Listen,
I'm your best friend. I don't fuck around the bush when I'm talking to you, dude.
Lau, are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Are you kidding me?
Listen, this is very exciting. I love horror films.
I walked my ass all the way here. Oh yeah. Lau is back here living in Republic and is here in the town and in the city. There's no more far apartness.
Ladies and gentlemen, what I want to do right now is basically start what I feel like is going to be a very fun episode to do of CNL.
I want to do this, brother.
Okay.
We still have not announced our sponsors.
We
have an obligation, my friend.
We are sponsored by Anchor Fence.
Anchor Fence Company.
Come get a picket.
Any size.
Anything you want. Treated,
redwood,
cedar,
brownwood,
redwood,
ash,
oak. Shove that picket straight up your fucking
ass. In America, there is no such thing called asswood.
Ladies and gentlemen,
that is not a thing.
Just go to Anchor Fence, ask them for a quote. If you're not happy with the quote,
you won't find asswood. It's not a thing.
We have very friendly people.
Any size you want, really any selection you want.
I want to personally announce OPMS Kratom as well.
Our only other sponsor, OPMS Kratom.
Listen.
You can find it still.
Both those sponsors are legit.
Even post COVID times, you can still find them at your friendly local.
We're still working.
Convenience stores.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to.
Did we just get real?
We just got real for a second.
Okay.
He
held his hand up, people, and I know Trav. When he holds his hand up,
this is the first episode of this, and I'm very excited.
Oh, definitely.
We're huge horror fans. Okay, now I want to start.
Okay. Off we go.
I want to go.
Right.
And I'm very nervous for this because I love this film.
Let's remind the people, what are we watching?
We are watching Return of the Living Dead.
And
this was kind of an intro because this is the first podcast.
I'm very excited about
that is like this. We're going to start doing this more often.
I was just talking to Cotter. This is a new thing that correlates along with CNL.
We're just horror fans, and we want to do something towards the horror community that is productive.
Right.
That's all it is.
And just to say again, because we want everyone to know this goes along with our regular podcast.
This is basically CNL scary movie commentary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
We're going to start with Return of the Living Dead, made in 1985 by Dan O'Bannon. He wrote the screenplay, directed it. There are several actors in this. We'll get to it. We'll talk about it as it goes. Lau, are you ready?
I'm ready. I've been waiting for this for about 4 hours, man.
Let's fucking do this.
Hell
We're
yeah.
starting Return of the Living Dead right now. Okay.
I have seen this film before. Before our countdown. But it's been about I calculated up. It's been about 17 and 3.5 quarters.
Months? Years. Jesus.
17 years and some months.
We're on Tubi, so it's an ad.
Oh, yep. We got little babies.
That's okay.
Diapers for your babies.
We'll sponsor for free, whatever.
They're pouring the blue water in. Oh, look at that diaper. It did not squeeze out much at all, brother.
Your regular advertising is taking place. Fuck it.
Number one pediatrician recommended.
Pampers.
We should not have
now
said
we're
that.
on to...
You should not have said that. You need to not do that.
We're sponsored by Pampers this video.
No, we're not. Shut your fucking mouth.
We're sponsored by Amazon as
Can
well.
you
This
say fucking
is an Amazon
shut the
commercial.
fuck up? We can't say that. Will you shut up? We need to go back.
No.
You
Listen,
can't be saying
guys,
shit like that.
Guys, we are 3 minutes into the film.
Oh, fuck me. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Oh.
We're 3:03. Listen.
Why is she covered in plastic?
This is where Frank is showing Fred. If you've ever seen this film, Frank is showing the new employee, Fred.
Is Frank in plastic or is Fred in plastic?
Fred's right there
on
the right.
Who's in plastic?
A dead cadaver. This is you need a medical supply.
Oh.
Okay, this is a factory. And
why would there be a dead body at a factory?
Because they're a medical supply. This is a very corny movie, I'm telling you.
There is no reason why a cadaver should be at a factory for any reason.
Well, you need a medical supply.
A medical supply factory would supply the medical supplies needed to keep wherever this dead person is, or not dead, maybe on stasis, alive and maintained.
In a freezer.
Yeah, that wouldn't be at the factory.
You're absolutely right.
You don't retrofit at the factory with people. You send representatives.
You're absolutely right. The problem with this movie is
what year would this movie come out?
1985.
85. Okay.
85.
I was born in 87. I first watched this.
This gentleman to your left. This is where they're sitting at the desks, and he's showing him the paperwork.
Do you see the skull on the table with the exposed brain?
Yes, sir. It's a trope. That gentleman right there that is acting right now is James Karen. Okay.
I've seen him before.
He's in Poltergeist.
Yes,
he's the man who moved the headstones, but moved the graves, but didn't move the heads. Moved the headstones, didn't move the graves.
The previous guy that was a jackass that made a bunch of money from complying to a bad decision. Yeah,
absolutely. He's a wonderful actor.
Goes surreal, people.
Him, Don Calfa, and Clu Gallagher are three actors that are from the 50s and 60s.
Right.
And they're very good actors, but you can tell with the way they act, they're from that era.
Oh, you're right.
So when you see these guys on screen...
That's why he's casted as somebody, a professional. This is his office and shit. He's here talking to this person.
It's a new guy.
Right.
Clu Gallagher comes in, and of course, I think we started this earlier, is what the problem was. We started 3 minutes in. But basically, Clu Gallagher...
We did a test, and I think you forgot you had already started it, so when you pressed play, we were already in it, bro.
This is literally the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
We didn't miss much. Clu Gallagher is from Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Tell me about him. And at the time in the 80s, he has his... What's that? That's his right ear pierced. No, that's his left ear pierced. Wait a minute. What was the rule in the 80s?
Yeah, I believe it was always left. It was always left because my left is pierced because
homosexual or heterosexual.
Right was associated with homosexuality for some reason.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
Well, I thought it was both.
It could be,
which is why the heterosexual male would only pierce.
I think it's a big but minute group that believes that. Okay, so basically, James Karen.
You know why?
James Karen's character is showing Fred.
Right.
Who is Tom Matthews, who is also Tommy Jarvis in Friday the 13th.
Oh.
Okay. This young man just started this medical facility.
Right.
And he's training him. He's in the middle of training, and he tells him, "Do you remember Night of the Living Dead?" And Fred's like, yeah, that's where the corpses started eating the people.
Right.
And so he says, well, that was based off a true case, and we have the bodies downstairs. We have the containers of bodies downstairs because they accidentally got shipped to us.
Oh.
So he said, he tells him, he's like, do you want to go see the bodies? Now they're going downstairs to see the containers of the zombies that were contained by the army.
Dude, only in 85 could you wear suspenders that skinny with a sleeveless
shirt.
Well,
he has a kind of a rat tail too, don't he?
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah,
you can see it in the light.
But it's very 80s.
It's very thin.
You've got to understand. I don't mind corny because the 80. I was born in 92, but I'm an 80s kid.
Right.
I love the 80s.
I do too.
I don't know what it is.
I do too. That's
it was
why
colorful. It was
that's
creative.
Why I'm a super big fan of a lot of horror films and a lot
Very
of
creative.
I fucking love Star Wars. A little bit of Star Trek, but Star Trek was before the 80s.
Star Wars grew on me over time.
Yeah.
In the documentary More Brains about Return of the Living Dead,
Right.
there's a 2-hour documentary on YouTube if you get the chance. It's called More Brains,
Right.
Return of the Living Dead.
And they talk about that whole...
They talk about the filming of this, and they talk about Star Wars, how big Star Wars was,
Well,
and how
because
that created
it set forth a precedence of imagination in films and shit, and like it really set a higher bar.
It gave people the hope that you could go with a camera and film anything, really.
You're right. As long as what you were filming was filmed wonderfully, beautifully, and correctly.
Now
and
we're
the
at the
message was sent, and it was a good message.
We're at the beginning
which
credits.
is why this film is so iconic. Oh yeah, the whole. Did you see the claymation skull? And
That's the Tar Man.
you know,
I'm in love with this film. I don't know what it is.
the more I watch, the more I realize the more I'm collecting from
You've seen it before.
those many years ago. I have. I've seen it twice. I was a little kid.
If you are familiar
My cousin
with,
was a huge fan.
if you're familiar with any trope towards zombies being brains,
Well, and I am. And
It's
this
Return
is
of the
big
Living
one
Dead.
because this is like kind of gives you the kind of understanding of the modern zombie. And it's true.
this film, this film, films like Nightmare on Elm Street or Leprechaun, things like that are so creative, inspired me to write.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and that's why I love them,
Right,
is
definitely.
because they're very inspiring. You watch it and it's like, wow, this is actually a fun fucking film to watch.
Right. It's because it is it's inspiring because it's original. It is a new look at something. It is an honest new look at something.
Right.
It's fun. It's entertaining.
This film, if you watch
because of that aspect,
if you watch the documentary,
directed by Dan O'Bannon.
the people that talked about
Right there.
it was the actors and the
That's-
creators.
Give a salute, Cotter.
Basically,
Salute right now.
it's an
Thank
American
you.
flag,
Thank
and it is Memorial Day weekend.
It is. That's why
It
I was
is.
like, fucking salute. I thought it was very appropriate. Although I did
This
smoke that joint with you.
I do like how this film plays off of Night of the Living Dead.
Well, what is the title of this film?
Return of the Living Dead.
That's what I'm talking about. Of course it does.
It's a sequel.
Oh,
We got an Amazon commercial.
but yes, it's a sequel, but it's
a sequel.
I think it's more of a statement than the first.
George A. Romero
movie.
and John Russo are two creators of Night of the Living Dead in the 69,
Right.
68, 69. And this film was made, this script was written in like 69, 70.
Right. One
And
person saw it and then
there were some
breathed
lawsuits.
life, and then another person saw it and expanded on that. Like, you can do that without lawsuits, just like with the first 3 Harry Potter films, and then the fourth one comes out, and it's like, wait a minute, it's another take on it. It's the same thing, but it's another look. It's darker. It's it's more real. That's a beautiful thing, and they did that without any sort of criminal infringement or
John
anything
Russo,
like that.
obviously, he won the rights to the name Return of the Living Dead.
Right, but that was it.
But John, that's
Wasn't?
why George A. Romero went on to make Living Dead movies. Day of the Living Dead.
Was that when Dawn of the?
Yeah. Dawn was, I believe, the sequel to Night.
Night of the
Because it went Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Living Dead, Day of the Living Dead, and then it went on from there.
Was there ever a Night of the Living Dead? Oh, it's back.
There was a remake by Tom Savini.
Dude, I would love a vestibule / entryway just as beautiful and as elegant as that.
This man is in the military, and he is responsible for they cannot find the containers of zombies.
He must get paid very well. Look at his home. Look at this.
Yeah, this is a really
In the 80s, this is huge. This is top dog. You know what I'm
well,
saying? Like, this is mansion.
this is almost undertone because this character is very unhappy.
Well, he's military man. High up in the military. Very high up.
He's very unhappy, but he's
Look,
very rich.
He's got a fucking screen and phone in his fucking china cabinet.
Because he's looking for the zombies.
He's making a call, dude.
He's responsible for the containers of zombies.
Oh.
When James Karen tells Freddy in the warehouse,
know that, like,
he doesn't. He's looking for them. That's why he's aggravated. They've lost the story is that Night of the Living Dead was based off a true story.
Right.
And that those zombies were contained and put in containers. And the army fucked up and sent it to Unita warehouse. So James Karen tells Freddy, "Hey, do you want to see those cadavers? That movie was based off a true story."
He doesn't know that.
He doesn't know where they're at. He's looking for them, and he's aggravated that they can't find him. That's what he tells his wife right now. Is we may never find him.
Yeah.
He's aggravated.
So he's like looking around his big enormous house, chilling with his wife, but he's also vexed at the same time.
He's not happy.
He's like, "Oh man, like,
yeah,
I don't figure this out."
These are the punks. These are the characters that.
Is that a lip piercing in his top lip or bottom?
That character's name is Suicide.
Okay.
And that is a goofy ass chain piercing from his ear to his left ear to his lip.
You can tell it's an actual. They want it to be a piercing because of how it hangs.
I'm gonna.
He lets go the. What the fuck?
He
don't give a
shit.
If he needs to choke you out, he's gonna choke you out, even if a train's coming.
2 fun facts. One of them is fun. One of them is depressing. One fun fact is the black guy in this is Miguel. His name is Miguel. Right.
Right.
He's in Friday the 13th Part 5. And he sits in.
Yeah, he is.
He sits in a porta potty.
He's like, when they all pick their weapons in 5. When they all pick their weapons in 5, he's like, "What are you gonna take?" And he's like, "I'm gonna take nothing, but this gun." And he picks up. He's that guy. That's him, dude.
He is.
I fucking love that, dude.
The enchiladas guy in the porta potty. But the other fact I was talking about was the guy with the mohawk. With the glasses.
Right.
He is, and this is depressing, but I don't let it ruin my view on this film, is him as a person, he is a convicted pedophile. His name is Brian Peck.
An actual real person?
Yes, sir.
Oh, we had to bring... I told you, we bring up pedophiles every time we fucking have
it's a big fucking deal, and it needs to be brought to the light. This guy right here, I don't let it ruin my view of this film. I love this film to death.
We'll only briefly
But I did want to bring that up because that's a big thing that people don't talk about. Brian Peck is a convicted pedophile. Moving on, he's not a big part.
He was convicted. He did his time, which is...
he didn't do his... I don't think he did time.
Well, no,
that's a whole other subject.
He's out walking around.
I only wanted to bring it up because
that's a
subject. He was in the Corey Feldman documentary.
I hate when we fucking bring this shit up.
This is a big film, is what I'm saying.
I know. I like this film.
He has his issues, but he's one actor within all these other great actors. Tom Matthews here on the left.
Like nowadays, dude, fuck. I was a huge fan. I'm just gonna say it. I was a huge fan of Bill Cosby, man, and Michael Jackson.
I was a huge fan of Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I don't get Bill Cosby because I wasn't.
I was
a fan,
listening to Michael Jackson when I was 2 in 1989.
I think there's a lot of That's a whole other subject.
But that was before the whole wacko jacko. But I still like that music that I was bopping to when I was 2. You know what I'm saying?
And the only reason I bring up Brian Peck, ladies and gentlemen, is because I feel like that's something that some people talk about, but not every fan talks about.
Right.
And
it is.
I wanted to bring it out at the front of the film so we can just enjoy the rest of the film.
I do respect.
It's a downer.
I do respect your respect for just wanting you. That's a part of it, and you added it in, even though it's a sore subject.
He worked with Nickelodeon.
I totally respect you for that.
He was working in Nickelodeon, and he did some shit that... Right. But Tom Matthews right here and James Karen are wonderful fucking actors.
Oh, dude, look at them.
Now, with James Karen, Don Calfa, and Clu Gallagher, those three older men
Right.
in this movie, they were from the generation of westerns being an average thing,
Right.
and it's like the 50s and 60s. They
Right,
were
right,
actors from a classic generation.
Right.
So when you watch the youth who are the punks, Freddie and all the other punks that are driving around in the car,
Right.
when you watch their acting compared to the older guys,
Well, of course.
it comes off you see the differences, but it works so well because this comes off like it could be a 1950s flick.
Right, but in that time period in which this movie was filmed, there was those two genres and styles of acting working together in the entertainment business.
This is the
So
special effects.
This is totally. Look,
this is a half
it's
dog.
like a half taxidermy dog.
It's a
like
half
a
dog.
taxidermy dog that's split in half, and they built.
They've already been the trioxin has already been released upon them because they tapped on the fucking tank.
The triox. Oh,
The gas that leaked on them and made them sick.
originally made
Because
the
he
first
told the
zombies,
kid
or-
he
or
told the
it's-
kid, you know, we
Where did the gas come from? Wait a minute. Where did the gas come from?
he told the kid, he said, "Do you want to see the
Originally,
cadavers?"
I mean, where did the gas come from originally?
It was
Before
from
this?
a VA hospital in Pittsburgh, I think.
Pittsburgh.
I can't remember.
Well, thank you, Pittsburgh.
I
I'm just kidding. I love Pittsburgh.
all I
I've been there.
know
City of Bridges,
is
baby.
he tried to tell this kid that Night of the Living Dead was based off a true event, and we got the corpses that were involved in that.
Right.
And he tells him, "You want to go see him?" And the kid's
Well,
like,
yeah, I
"Yeah,
remember
sure."
that. I remember that.
He bangs on the thing. He makes a joke about the U.S. Army. No, it's made by the U.S. Army, the Corps of
Oh, okay,
Engineers,
okay,
and he
okay.
bangs on the side of the tank, and it
See what I
leaks the
missed.
gas in their face.
Right.
Now they're sick. Now they're running around sweating. They're looking sickly because the gas got in their face, and they ingested the trioxin, which is the chemical
Trioxin.
that creates the zombie apocalypse.
Right,
basically.
right.
Well, in this film, it's not really an apocalypse. It only takes
But
over
what I was
Louisville,
asking-
Kentucky.
What I was asking, like, where did that chemical originate? That thus now presently makes this film.
You have to see the sequels. You have to watch 3, I think.
We'll have to
explains it
just
better.
cover those. I've only ever seen this one, and it was very
the
long ago.
The first one, let me tell you something. The first one is the best one and my favorite.
right.
The second one has Freddie and it has James Karen and Tom Matthews in it, the two guys that get infected.
Right.
It has those guys in it playing different characters, but it's not it's not the same as this. This was special.
I see what you mean.
This was very special. She's talking to she's talking
Look at her, man.
She strips all of her
Oh,
clothes
shit.
off.
Dude,
And she gets butt naked and dances on the grave.
she has really nice boobies.
That is Linnea Quigley.
Oh, but
Linnea Quigley is a scream queen.
she has really
She's
nice
done a lot
boobies.
of the character who plays Spider, Miguel.
How do you get boobies like that?
He had said in the documentary, oh yeah, she had awesome tits.
Oh my god.
Yeah, she gets butt ass naked. Did you know that they had to put a a rubber piece over her vagina so it wouldn't show?
Oh really?
It wouldn't show the lips and stuff. This was a great scene. This was insane. Now this character, Clu Gallagher, he plays he plays Bert. He's the boss at the warehouse.
Like that for you. There you go, buddy.
Bert, the guy that's yelling right now. Clu Gallagher, that actor, he's in Nightmare on Elm Street 2. He plays Jesse's dad.
Right.
He's a great actor. He used to do westerns. He's like 90 something now,
Damn.
but he still goes to conventions. Now, what I was talking about earlier with the older actors, if you watch the old, Don Calfa comes up,
Right.
And Dawn Calfa is amazing in this film. The older actors come off as old school actors, and the 80s younger actors come off as 80s cheesy actors.
Right.
You can tell the difference. You know, they're both decent for the time period, but this film is very fun. I don't know what it is.
Look at the pickaxe, like, is hanging around, like, especially one. Looks
They
looks like an emergency pickaxe.
They call Bert because of the cadaver that comes alive. And Bert comes back. He's the boss of the warehouse. And he comes back to try to help them. But he lines them up in front of the door and hides off to the side. He tells them it's going to be okay. Just open the door and whack him in the head and we'll be fine. And he's hiding in the racks.
Oh shit.
This film's fun. I don't know. This is funny because the zombie went straight for him. He tried to hide. He thought they were going to get it.
Oh
He kind of did a cowardly move.
Look at that zombie. He is determined.
Now, this is the bit where they talk about the film. And what happened, he talks about this before this scene. He says, what did they do to get rid of the zombies? How did they kill the zombies? And he said, they hit him in the brain. So he puts the pickaxe in the head of the zombie, but the zombie's still kicking and yelling.
Oh, shit.
So they're like, okay, Freddy's character has a line where he says, you mean the zombies, you mean the movie lied? And it's a funny situation because they're trying to base what they know off zombies. It's a reanimated corpse.
Oh, yeah.
So they're trying to kill it. And no matter what they do, they chop its head off right now with a bone saw. It doesn't kill the corpse. The corpse still keeps coming.
Oh, my God.
So they don't know what to do.
Just chop it in pieces.
Now the corpse is running amok in the warehouse. It's a headless corpse.
It's knocking shit over. They're trying to hold it. Oh. Chasing it down like a chicken. Oh, yeah. They're like, yeah, I'm sure he's like, cut more pieces off of it.
That's what they do. They bag it.
Yeah.
They cut it up into pieces and bag it.
At least they're, there's not squirting blood everywhere and getting shit messy.
Yeah, that was kind of genius, really. That kind of brings the humor and the goofiness immediately. This film was wonderful because they tried to make a horror film, but they made it silly.
Yeah.
Unintentionally. It just came out of the situation.
Yeah.
Because these actors were told to ham it up. See how they're sweating?
Yeah.
And you can tell they're kind of paler and they're a little sickly because of the gas. They progress throughout the whole film and they become zombies.
Oh, shit.
And they make their choice whether or not they want to be a zombie or,
What a struggle.
Now, what Bert's telling them is, we can take this over to my buddy Ernie, who is across the street with a funeral home, and he basically is a what is the guy called that puts embalming fluid in the bodies?
The mortician.
The mortician. He's a mortician, and he does dead bodies. So his idea is to take it over to Ernie's place and cremate it. Chop it into pieces and burn it so there's nothing left.
Right.
That's all he can think of.
Throw it in the incinerator.
We don't want to call the authorities.
We have hit a commercial.
That's fine. The beautiful thing about this film is it created the natural brains trope for zombies. Anytime zombies are looking for brains, it's because of Return of the Living Dead.
Right.
This is the original godfather of modern zombies.
Right.
That's what it's known for, really. I personally, my favorite thing I think about this film is the mixture of older actors that are classically trained actors,
Right.
and these younger 20-some-year-old actors.
Right.
You know,
Ooh, we're in the graveyard. Ooh.
Linnea Quigley's character Trash just
She-
danced on the tombstone
She
naked.
has such nice chesticles, man. Like I just
She
can't look at
shows
'em.
she shows her breast in a lot of horror films. If you haven't seen Night of the Demons, she's in that, and she shoves a piece of lipstick in her tit.
Oh, she got a lipstick there.
She's in the documentary. This scene right here in the documentary, that one of the older actors, Clu Gallagher, talks about this scene, and it made me laugh so hard because he's like, she just rubbed his crotch right there, right in front of the camera. Just said, "Fuck it," rubbed it. They're just hanging out in a graveyard waiting for their friend Freddie
We're
to
just
get
chilling.
off. Now they're carrying the
Oh.
pieces over to the morgue.
They're like, oh shit, that's Freddy.
This guy kind of looks like Tom Cruise. Am I wrong? He kind of has a Tom Cruisey look. Yuppie look. This is Don Calfa's character, the mortician Ernie. And if you didn't notice already, ladies and gentlemen, we have Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street already in this film. He's smoking a pipe, fixing up a cadaver, because that's what he does. He's a mortician.
That's his career. That's his job.
I recommend, if you do love this film, I recommend the documentary. I really do. The documentary is so great. Explains a lot.
There's somebody knocking on the door.
They're coming to his mortuary, really, his morgue.
Yep.
And Bert's idea is let's burn up these pieces. Let's get rid of it. Don Calfa's got his headphones in. He can't hear Bert coming in the room. Boom! What's really cool about that scene and nobody ever talks about is Clu Gallagher and Don Calfa both, I believe, have done westerns.
Oh, and
So
then
that's
he just
a little
whips
cool.
out a gun real quick.
Yeah, he like
surprised.
draws on him. I think, and then he tells him like, "Oh, you're quick on the draw." I think that's kind of a cool callback to their acting career, because these guys are very experienced actors. They've been acting for years before this film. This was at the end of their career.
Well, actually, authentic cowboy style was to not bring from the head down. It was to bring up. No matter what place you pulled your gun or wherever, you brought it up. So I find that interesting. But that's a little bit of actual authentic Western that I know about.
They used to do a lot of westerns, from what I understand. I believe Clu Gallagher played Billy the Kid in a western.
Oh, nice.
These guys are classically trained actors, and that's what they bring to the movie is very, very cool characters. Very cool character actors.
Oh, yeah.
He's known, Bert's known Ernie for a while, and he feels like he can trust him to kind of to burn the pieces to the corpse. This is the best idea he had. You know, burn it and get rid of it.
Yeah.
If you can't get it at the brains, go ahead and get rid of it completely. Ernie's upset because it's illegal to bring multiple people into his his place. They're just going through the back door.
He's trying.
I've never noticed that until now.
He's doing his best.
Clu Gallagher just tripped over something. That was beautiful. Nobody talks about that.
Yeah, that was not scripted.
He straight tripped over something. I love how they kept shit like that.
Uh-huh.
That's where the humor comes from, is little bits, little things. Rabbit weasels. I love that character choice. Clu Gallagher's a wonderful actor because he paused for a minute. His character didn't really think about that. What excuse he had for Ernie.
It's rabid weasels, man. we just caught a bunch of them. They really the shit.
Yeah. He tells him, I don't want the reputation getting out that we got some rabid weasels, and Ernie's like, that doesn't even make sense. So he tells him, I want to burn them, and Ernie's like, well, at least let me take him outside and shoot him, and then he's like, well, they're not rabid weasels, they're body parts. Peter would have a fit, like, what the fuck?
That's cruel, he says. We'll shoot him.
Yeah, that's what he tells him. Let me at least go out and let me at least put them out of their fucking misery.
He's like, look at him. He's holding it. He's like, I'll just shoot him. How about that?
Now, this is a spoiler alert, kind of. At the end of the film, Don Calfa did a beautiful thing with this gun and one of the teen characters. They hide upstairs, and he puts the gun to her head because the zombie's about to come up and get her. And he pretty much is going to put a bullet in her head so she doesn't have to suffer. Yeah. It's a beautiful move he made as an actor that wasn't scripted. A lot of things like that happened in this movie that were really cool, that are like... Now he's revealing that it's body parts, and the arm pops out of the bag and grabs Don Calfa's leg. He panics.
Now he's like, burn him!
Yeah, he kind of hops on the idea, really. What are you going to do? What the fuck would you do?
Yep.
Other than, let's...
They're like, we told you, guy.
We tried to explain that this is a reanimated corpse. Now, this cracks me up every time I see it, because when he sits down and they're like, we have a long story to tell you, it cuts back to the teens, and they're talking shit. And it's a funny exchange. But then you go back to them, and they end the story of what happened. And Don Calfa's character tells Bert, well, I think you overreacted by cutting the body up. And he's like, well, that's in the past. What are we going to do now? We got to burn it. He takes a minute. It's a funny-ass scene, I thought. He takes a minute, and Don Calfa sits there after they tell him the story. He cuts off what's left of his pants. Mm-hmm. He just sits there. That's the scene. He sits there. It's quiet. It's awkward. He cuts the pants, and he sits there. He's like, okay, let's go burn that body. I thought that was so funny for some reason. Her character's name's Tina, and her boyfriend is Freddie, the kid who started at the factory. And she's going to go see what's taking him so long to get off. It's like 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. They're just hanging out in the fucking cemetery being crazy.
Waiting for their friend.
Being crazy punks.
Punks.
That was a great addition to this film, was the soundtrack, was all punk bands. Mm-hmm. That was a big deal. This was a very, very good zombie film. I hate zombies, but this film I love to death. I can't help but love it. It's so 80s, and it made zombies actually kind of scary. Like, I love this film. She's going to Unita warehouse to check on Freddy. Not knowing that Freddy's at the morgue and he's fucked up. You know.
Unita.
You need a medical supply.
Well, of course you do.
Of course you do in this situation. It was such a funny film that it's surprising it even has good horror film moments when you think about it. It's a very Leslie Nielsen type movie. Very spoofy. It teeters on that, but it doesn't ever get there. It stays its own original horror film, but it teeters on like spoofy. And this is the scene I was talking about. He sits here for a second. They explain to him what's going on, and he kind of sits there and accepts it. And then he cuts. It takes the whole scene takes up him. He's just cutting off his pant leg. I thought that was funny.
I like how he's
He looks at his pants. I'm gonna cut these pieces off real quick. And the whole scene, it doesn't cut away. he just cuts off those ripped pant pieces because that was important. That's part of what made this movie so funny, is they just filmed that. Like, they didn't even really think that it was taken up too much time.
He probably sat down there originally, and they sat around him because he was going to cut his pant leg off because it was all ripped up. And they started talking.
All right, let's go burn that body.
Now that I got this raggedy, ripped up pant leg on.
Yeah, I love how well he accepts it too. He really is a trooper. He's like, all right, fuck it.
He's like, all right,
Let's do it.
at least I cut in a straight line.
That's a good fucking friend, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever talks about that, but Don Calfa's character to Clu Gallagher's character in this movie was a very good friend to him for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Burns all the pieces. James Karen, his character is sitting over off to the side with Freddy, and he looks over at Freddy and says, anybody can work that, some favor, you know. And later on, it sets up for something later on with his character. I don't know what else you would do other than burn this shit.
Yeah.
Reanimated pieces.
Burn it.
See, and Clu Gallagher did a great job about acting paranoid and very terrified. He didn't have a lot of time to rehearse. I guess this was a film where the actors got to rehearse like a week or two in advance before they filmed. Mm-hmm. And he was the only one that came in without rehearsing. So he did a great job. And now that they've burned the body, the trioxin smoke is being released in the air.
Oh, no.
And then it starts to rain. And the shit drops to the ground and gets in the cemetery.
What would have been better idea, just burying the body parts in the ground in separate places? Or?
I feel like, yeah. In the end, you're absolutely right. If they would have just thought about just digging a hole and burying it,
yeah,
and just leaving it be, I think they would have been fine. It's the fact that they burned it, let the trioxin infused smoke go up in the air, and now it's raining.
Now it's raining, so
and
all
it falls.
that trioxin is being introduced to every inch of the
And they were playing in the cemetery.
Oh no, it's raining on the cemetery,
it's
dude.
raining on the cemetery. Linnea Quigley's still butt naked. Trash is still fucking naked running around. I love that. They kept her naked through the whole thing. Keep your clothes off, fuck it. Continuity, bitch. She is a real scream queen. She's in a lot of horror films. Probably a lot we'll watch.
I totally brought popcorn across the and I ate it all.
That's what popcorn's for, buddy.
And now I'm chewing the kernels. I'm sure it's very annoying.
Am I the only one who thinks the 80s was just so cool? Like, I don't know why. That 10 years seemed really creative. I guess not so much anymore. But at the time, it seemed like they were really trying to create something new with everything.
Well, it was a time for exploration.
Well, the sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre was so much different from the original that he tried to fit into the 80s style, and I love that about that film. Is he didn't give a fuck about continuity and shit.
Look at all of it just coming out of there.
Yep, it's just leaking out. And it's raining, storming.
This guy's at the window like, we fucked up.
He
is too.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, guys. This may not have been a.
This is a really cool shot. I like how they did that.
It's trickling down into the earth and.
It's like inside the dirt.
Here we go.
Under the
there's
ground.
a coffin. Yep.
Ugh.
Oh, there's a dead man's shoes with his feet in it.
Get him. I wonder how long they sat there for to watch that burn. What do you think? 20 minutes? 30 minutes?
Maybe, yeah. Not any more than 30 minutes.
It doesn't seem long enough for them to be all fucking like, thank God it's over with.
Right. Yeah, think about all the bits and pieces that dropped through that grate while it was burning.
Now,
what about all those little bits and pieces?
Frank and Freddy are still fucked up from the trioxin. They're getting sicker and sicker throughout the whole film. Freddy's trying to explain it to Bert that they're not feeling so well from that shit, so he decides to take him to the hospital, but it's a little too late. They're kind of too far gone. They're looking a little dead, a little pale, sweaty.
No, they don't look very good. Look like they both ran a marathon and
They look like they fucked for 6 hours. And they need some
You
water.
fucking anime, you fucking asshole. They do look like they're just plumb exhausted.
That's the thing is that's what I'm trying to explain is I love you can tell the good actors in this film from the okay ones.
Mm-hmm.
Is Clu Gallagher's a wonderful fucking actor, and James Caan is a classical. He's hamming it up, but it's in a way that's endearing. It's very old school how he's hamming it up. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you watch these three guys right here, Don Calfa, Clu Gallagher, and James Caan, those guys are so classically trained. They're hamming it up. They're making it entertaining. They're entertaining while on the screen. And the younger generation, you can see is learning from that, and they'll start to ham it up too. Like it really helped the younger kids' acting, especially in the '80s when these type of this was a B film. You know what I mean? This was not an A-list film at the time. It gets its respect now because it's one of those films that's like a cult classic. Mm-hmm. It took time for people to find it. I'm in love with this film. That's the only reason we started with it. I can't wait to do Leprechaun, Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason. I can't wait to do all those. But this film right here is fun. Like you're eating fucking popcorn because this is a very fucking popcorn film.
Oh yeah,
this is a fucking bowl of popcorn film.
I'm enjoying myself.
Very entertaining. I recommend this to anybody. Return of the Living Dead is it's so nostalgic and. The acting is corny, but it's corny where it needs to be. It's not over the top, cringy. Right. It's perfect. It's not cringy. I love that about this film. I never felt once like it was cringy. It was on the verge of being cringy.
Right.
And to me, that's the perfect type of corny. Now the cemetery is being soaked with a trioxin-infused rain. Actually, the effects producer complains about this first scene where the first corpse pops up out of the ground because the effects guy was not up on his game and they didn't feel like it fit what they were looking for.
Right.
He actually quit halfway through and then another one came in, another effects guy. He did the second one. He did the sequel. But none of the Return of the Living Dead movies are like the first one. The first one's absolute best. And there's like 5 or 6 of them. Sequels. And you know what's weird? I feel like almost like this film fits into the old school. This could be black and white and make sense. Mm-hmm. Kind of. Other than what they're wearing. You know what I mean? The way it's filmed and the feeling of the acting. The acting feels like old school, like
it would work.
I guess cheesy is the word I'm looking for. It's very like hammed up, over the top, but not so over the top like that it's annoying. Like yeah, it's very. It stands though. It stands up though. Within modern horror films, none of very little of this film.
That's his hand where he slapped it.
Yeah,
his little handprint.
And that's the tar man that was in that container.
What about all those other zombies?
Tar man.
Whoa.
Now, this was at the time and kind of now, but at the time that was the most famous zombie was the tar man. The tar man's very well known. This effect also, this makeup effect right here, this is wonderful. It looks great. You got to understand, this is a very low budget film.
Right.
Very low budget. And the way the guy walks as the zombie looks really good because it looks like he could fall apart at any moment.
Right.
The character Tina went into the warehouse looking for Freddy, and she found the tar man.
Yep. Now she's blocked a door.
She's hiding from the tar man.
She used a pipe to.
This is kind of showing that the zombies in this film aren't dumb. They actually use their head and think.
They can problem solve. Because
exactly,
he totally was like, "How can I get this door open?"
Exactly.
Yeah, he's using a fucking winch.
Yep.
A zombie using a winch. Wow.
Now her friends are in the warehouse trying to get out of the rain.
He's got a pulley system rigged. Look at this fucker.
See, this was what was so beautiful about this film is Dan O'Bannon wanted the zombies to think. He wanted to show the process of what are the zombies thinking. That's what made it different.
Right.
That's
what
how
do
they
the zombies want.
That's how they find out later on in the film that the zombies want brains. And that's where the trope comes from. Brains. It came from this film. This was the original zombie. I love the effects in this film.
The first thing he went to was the skull.
He even says it. So Suicide, the character Suicide is dead. He has had his head bitten into by the tar man, and they all run upstairs. They're gone. And Linnea Quigley is still butt-ass naked with a sweater.
Well, she just lost her skirt. It got caught on the stairs.
She's a scream babe. She's a horror babe. We're going to have to watch Night of the Demons, you and I. It's a lot like this film, and it's very well done. Now Freddie and Frank are shivering on the couch. They've got blankets wrapped around them. They've called an ambulance, and the paramedics are in here. And this is the scene where the paramedics tell them, oh, your temperature is at room temperature.
Oh.
You're technically dead, but you're responsive, so we don't understand what's going on. One of the paramedics were replaced. I guess he didn't work out too well, so they replaced him. I think it's the blonde guy on the right here.
Oh, yeah.
He was replaced. Like I said, if you go watch More Brains, the 2-hour documentary about this film, it makes the film so much better. The documentary is wonderful, and it's entertaining. It's funny. You'll laugh. Good time. This is one of those films that's really good background noise when you're just wanting to hang out and clean the house, Lau's over here fucking ripping Orenville.
I gotta get all that better.
Redenbachers or whatever the fuck is it. Some goddamn pop secret over here. This is the perfect film for popcorn too, I'm telling you. It so corny, but in the right places. It's entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
It's not too long. He tells them, they take their pulse and they say that, oh, you don't have any blood pressure or pulse. This is weird. The paramedics go off to the side and talk to each other. What's funny about this scene is they go off to the side and talk to each other, and the character Freddy is sitting there, and he's like, what are you saying? What are you guys saying?
Even though they're only like 5.5 feet
away. Exactly.
Come on, look at that.
And he's like,
they're maybe 5 feet away from each other. What are they saying?
What are you guys talking about?
You can't hear that? They're not even 5 feet away from you.
I have so much respect for this film. It's beyond a zombie film. That's the thing about Return of the Living Dead. It's beyond a zombie film. It's its own thing.
It's not a film about zombies. It's a film about people dealing with zombies,
which is most
and figuring out and that is pivotal, my friend. I'm gonna say that word again. Pivotal.
It's most zombie films deal with that, but this one just didn't give a fuck. They gave a fuck just enough, Obviously, Dan O'Bannon created Alien, and
which are amazing films, and I enjoy them too. But they're not technically horror films.
He directed Total Recall, I believe.
Do you think it's kind of funny that Alien is kind of actually like a horror film? The monster haunts around like it's a horror film, but it's a spaceship and it's an alien.
Alien's a creature feature.
I love it.
For sure.
I love it. Yeah, you're right.
I've debated that forever. Is Alien a horror film?
Well,
it is.
No,
it is.
No. Friday the 13th is a horror film. Alien is a creature feature.
And
I see the. You know what I mean?
I love creature features. I don't mind that.
Oh, they've barred themselves in this room.
They're in the warehouse. They've barred the tar man down in the basement. They're back outside in the rain. I love the soundtrack. I don't personally. I wouldn't listen to the music on a regular, but it was a good choice for what it was. These are supposed to be punks. They go back to the cemetery like fucking idiots, like normal horror movie idiots. I love how she's butt naked still. You still get that ass.
Well, she's
Dan
not butt
O'Bannon
naked.
was
She's
a
got
genius.
a top on now.
It doesn't matter. You get cheeks. You
But
get
she did have a
wet
skirt. But
cheeks.
remember, it got ripped off when she was running up the stairs.
This is
Skeleton. Oh wow, he's got a big smile.
that was the corpse that made the original executive effects producer. He says he hates that. He did not want the corpse to look like that.
Oh really?
He said it's too clean. It's too white.
Yep.
It should have been something different. They had drawings. Dan O'Bannon's a really good drawer, and he had drawings, and that's why it's so visually put together, because he had a vision of what he wanted. And if you remember in the beginning of the film, but right before she strips naked, she tells Miguel's character, Spider, that she wants to be surrounded by a bunch of old men clawing at her. And, she tells her fantasies, but it gets twisted on her.
Oh, shit.
A little bit. She's like, oh, you ever think about dying,
Not the, I just wasn't, not the same avenue she was thinking about. Oh my goodness. She did not picture it going out like that poor girl.
It's funny because a lot of youth culture does that. They'll say things they don't really mean or don't really know that they don't mean.
Right. And then they experience some like real life
They
happenings.
experience it and they're like, oh, this is not what I envisioned at all, but it's what I said, I guess.
Yeah, like you see a lot of things in the movies and shit, and then like you like happen to see like a really terrible fucking crash, and it's fucking like the world just got real. Holy fuck.
Don Calfa's character is responding to the Spider and Tina and Scuzz. The punks, they made it to the morgue and they banged on the door, and Don Calfa answered the door with the gun. And they're trying to explain to him,
which is a Luger, by the way. That is a Luger.
It's a pretty cool looking gun.
Yeah.
This is a German gun, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, absolutely.
They're trying to explain to him that there are people coming out of the ground. There are zombies, basically. And now we're seeing the two other punks. These characters, their names escape me because they're not huge parts.
Just not important enough for you?
Well, I love the guy who plays the Tom Cruise looking guy because he's funny. In the documentary, he's fucking hilarious. He says something like, he's sitting there and he's like, he's talking about Linnea Quigley taking her clothes off and sitting there watching her dance naked. And he brings up, he's like, I like Japanese porn. Did this get weird? I feel really weird. He says that.
Well,
and
like
it
her,
made me
like
laugh.
her body is like very, my goodness, just a wonderful, wonderful shape.
She gets naked in a lot of her films.
In like as you would see in like
There was a reason Dan O'Bannon had her get naked.
anime. That's what I'm trying to say. Anime.
The paramedics just got eaten by zombies. They were trying to go outside and get the stretcher for
They did not fare well.
Now they're trying to explain to Bert and Ernie that there are corpses coming out of the ground. There are zombies out there. You guys don't even know what's going on. What the fuck? And then she finds out her boyfriend is really fucked up and she starts questioning shit. Like, what'd you do to my boyfriend? These two characters
Where the fuck is the phone? He said.
And that's logical, call the fucking police.
Nowadays we have phones in our pockets, but of course, Oh, fuck me. Jesus.
A zombie just
Holy
bursts through
shit.
the office door.
He's throwing the phone and shit? What the fuck?
This is the type of scene. That scene right there is why it's a legitimate horror film, because it does keep the horror in it. It does
Right.
keep the scary in it. But it also finds humor in the moments in which these characters are dealing
Oh, she
with.
found Freddy. Oh, fuck.
Freddy's dying.
Yeah, look at him. Look at him. He looks terrible.
Don Calfa, Ernie goes outside to find out what's going on with the paramedics. He finds the ambulance empty and open. But he's got a gun, so if anybody's safe, it's really him. He can get away. He can shoot and get away. So
I got a gun. Let's go to a Broadway show.
he's checking the ambulance. The ambulance is empty. He shuts the door and finds a midget zombie.
Oh, fuck me. Holy shit.
He finds a midget zombie eating a brain. And now the midget zombie's going to run after him after he shoots him, and he's running back inside. That was a really cool
It looked
effect.
like he tripped. It
Yeah.
looked like he tripped.
He slipped. He slipped in the rain. It was too wet. I imagine.
And they used the shot anyway.
I imagine that these actors were very wet.
Such dedication. Such dedication, dude. Like, I'm enjoying this.
I told you would. It's a very, very enjoyable film. Don Calfa's character, Ernie, is panicking, telling the others that they're all over the place. We need to board the windows. We need to make sure we're safe. We need to call the police.
He's like, all right.
Now,
shit's real talk now, he says.
Yeah. There's the older characters are starting to realize, oh shit, there's some shit going on.
You're right, and you're right. Yeah, I'm noticing the younger characters. They're following them more about. They're listening more instead of
these older actors are so good. They're so classically trained that they're acting so hammed up and dramatic that it works.
Well, that's how they made their livelihood, and that's what they're used to. Yeah,
they're very good actors.
It's an era of acting. Yeah,
you got to think this is a B movie in the '80s. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, these guys are really good,
and it's good acting. It's not.
It really is. It's very good acting. They did well for what they were paid. They did wonderful.
This is better than a B movie today.
This is actually considered an A movie now. Now this is a little montage of them grabbing nails and doing the cliche board up the shit.
We need a montage.
It's not a montage though. That's what's beautiful about it is there's music playing. They're boarding up the windows, but it's a scene that's
it's
playing
like real
out.
time.
Exactly. It's not a montage. It's not 80s bullshit. It was just showing them trying to board up the windows.
Right.
Cliche zombie shit. We now, as an audience, we're aware that there are zombies and they know what to do.
Which also they made a staple in themselves. Like, let's board up all the windows. That's why, like, in video games in modern days, like, you're boarding up windows,
Call of Duty
and
zombies,
entranceways and shit like that. You gotta fucking get
of
the
course,
zombies
of course. Night of the Living Dead did that. They that was one of the first things they did. They boarded up the windows. Now there's a zombie eating a brain. One of the paramedics. He hears the radio in the ambulance. This was a very famous line from this film. The zombie gets in the radio and he says, "Send more paramedics." It's a
smart zombie.
They are smart zombies. He basically is eating the brain, hears the radio, and then gets on the radio and says, "Hey, send more of that."
He's eating the brain of a paramedic.
Yep.
And then here's the radio in the vehicle. It's a more paramedic.
Now we're back to them boarding up windows, and they're trying to figure out what the fuck is. You know, this would be an insane situation. Most people
it's
would
like
panic.
Left 4 Dead.
What do? We grab weapons and we board up the windows. It's very zombie-like. Now Tina's upset because Freddy's dying and he looks bad, and she's questioning what happened to him. So now they're threatening Bernie. Bert, not Bernie. Bert. He's explaining to them what happened. These actors, the makeup is good, but they did a really good job about hamming it up, and, it hurts. That was in their mind. It's very painful. Eventually, when they do get the half corpse on the slab and they talk to it and ask it why are you eating people, and the zombie says, "No, I'm not. We're not eating people. We're eating brains." Brains gets rid of the pain of being dead, basically.
Ah.
It's like they're drug addicts.
Well, they lack nutrients. They have nothing in them. Of course, when they obtain a substance of
Brains takes
a
the pain
plethora
away.
of nutrients, yeah, it's really a transfer of energy.
Now this scene is where Freddy explains how he feels, and Don Calfa gets a little worried because he's a mortician, and he sees signs of rigor mortis, and he investigates more and finds that Freddy is pulling up blood. His body is basically, he's a corpse. It's showing signs that he's a corpse, but he's still active.
Right.
And this was what was genius, was he's a mortician, so of course he can be the exposition.
He
and
can
it's,
identify this, so they've
Exactly.
got a clue into what they're up against and what they're heading into.
Now, I love the hammed up,
I know.
the acting. I love the
And
classic.
the punk's got to be calmed down and reasoned with.
I feel like the hammed up bullshit is just a good way to make a film.
Oh, the ambulance has arrived as per request of the zombie.
There's a backup paramedics.
They just made it. Oh, he's wearing the same yellow slicker. So the zombies know. We can identify you, right? Yeah, there we go. I was going to say.
The paramedics find the corpse of the other paramedic and get eaten by zombies. They're done. Now they're hearing the boards bust and more arms. I noticed this not too long ago, that you see that arm on the very far right at the corner? That is a fake arm, and it chops off and it falls. I notice a lot more effects when I pay attention now. Like, I get how they did things. This is where Scuzz dies. Of course, Scuzz is played by Brian Peck, who I said has a past. But that doesn't affect the film any. Just him as a person. This is the half corpse they interview.
Shit.
So now they've Scuzz has been bitten in the head, and they are containing the half corpse.
Oh shit.
And Don Calfa, being a medical man, being a person he's smart enough to know that if these things are talking, let's find out what's going on.
Right. Let's dig whatever information we can.
There
we go.
He
not only jabs it with he jabs it in the right spot to where
he decapitates
he
it.
can then handle it.
Look at him. He's a medical
Fucking
guy.
Genius,
He knows.
dude.
He knows.
Like, he earned his degree, dude.
He really did.
He knew right where to stab that thing. Even being undead, he's like,
Ernie
right.
is very good at what he does.
He is. A very.
Now they're tying down the half
hate to
corpse.
say it again. I hate to say it. I guess our word of the night is pivotal. What a pivotal role. What a thing to take on and be.
He was very good. That these guys are classically trained actors. They created characters,
right,
that are memorable.
Without
and likable.
them, they'd be blind characters in a movie hacking and sawing.
Now,
it's beautiful.
Basically, they've tied down the half corpse that killed Scuzz,
right.
And they're interviewing it. He's basically asking it, why are you eating people? And the half corpse has brains.
Right.
It's to take the pain away. Now,
take the pain away.
One thing about this scene was
Listen. Yeah.
This half corpse was well built.
What's she saying?
Brains. We eat brains to take the pain away.
I can feel myself rot.
That's supposed to be spinal fluid.
It
on
is.
The table there.
Oh, shit.
It's glycerin.
Well, I think, yeah.
The director came up and sprayed some of that every now and then, and the tailbone flips. It moves. That was a well done effect. See how it keeps the horror, how it keeps the effects. It keeps the horror, like the really good stuff about horror. It keeps that, but it adds the humor of the situation. It's corny, but this shit's good.
Zombies got nice boobs, man.
You see those titties?
Is it just me?
The director,
That's not just me, right?
The director fought for that because Tony Gardner.
Okay, good. I didn't want to say that without.
Tony
good.
Gardner is
That's
the guy
on purpose thing.
He's the guy who created that dummy.
Right.
And basically, he said, "I think it should have a nightgown because of ratings issues." And Dan O'Bannon said, "No."
Well, then how did it end up with just like
I want to see the
a
nipples
rotting pair of great tits?
because he wanted to see the nipples.
Oh, here we go. Oh,
Dan O'Bannon
commercial
fought for that scene to
need a
not
refill?
have.
refill time.
I don't. I have some.
Son of a bitch.
I don't know. I hope you like this film, even in the slightest bit that
Dude,
I do.
I'm loving it.
It's a very fun film, and I hate zombies. This is coming from somebody who hates zombies.
Seen it before.
Zombies
I've
are
seen it before.
so
It's been a
goddamn
long
boring.
time.
This film is the best zombie film you will find, past Night of the Living Dead. I love Night of the Living Dead, but Return of the Living Dead is so tropey and 80s and just corny where it needs to be. I love the actors in it. I love everything about this film. It's wonderful.
Dude, it's been a wonderful ride. It's been a kind of a look into my past. I keep remembering like how I was at that age when I first watched this. I'm remembering a lot of things from my childhood.
You probably watched it in the 90s, didn't you?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I did. Are you a wizard?
I might be.
How did you...
I might be. Now, Trash's character's coming back.
Oh, yeah. Look. Oh,
She got...
wow.
Yeah, it's the naked...
Hey,
she got bitten, and now she's coming back as a zombie.
Good lordy.
Linnea Quigley and Lau, I'm going to tell you this right now. We're going to cover Night of the Demons eventually.
Oh, I know.
Night of the Demons is just like this, and it's well done. It's very 80s, it's very corny. I love Night of the Demons. Linnea Quigley is in that, and she also gets topless in that. You see her boobs a lot in horror films.
Goodness me.
But a lot of people enjoy that. That's why they put boobs in horror films. Fuck it.
That's better than Ghostbusters, baby.
Look at that.
Whoa.
She's walking up to the homeless guy with
Good
the car.
lordy.
You see the prosthetic?
Yep,
Yeah.
I do.
They did a good job about hiding it,
They
though.
did.
I'll admit that.
Did you see the wingspan on that jaw bite, bro? Holy shit.
Her hair was a lot more pink than the character was. Did
That
you
was
notice
not
that?
her actual head because no
No.
human's mouth can open that wide.
It was a prosthetic, but
Oh, for sure?
I believe these two got married.
Really?
If I'm accurate
Ain't
about
that
that.
just not the sweetest motherfucking thing, dude?
Well, that's the thing about this scene is she says like the whole time he's trying to get laid by her, and she's like, "Oh, I don't even like you." Yeah, she says, "I
Dude,
never liked you at all, but hold me," because this is terrifying.
I never wanted nothing from you, but like you all like out right now.
You're shit, but
hold me, bro.
This is
Hold
horrible.
me. I love that in real life that they fucking spent forever together. Isn't that something beautiful?
I believe they got married. They were holding each other at a
Right.
Comic-Con. So
Well, that's awesome.
now, basically, Bert has told everybody.
What is this? A meeting of the minds while we're still dealing with?
Bert has told everybody that we should probably lock these two up because
yeah.
they're about to turn and we can't take a chance.
Well, they don't need
They're
any more
going to turn
people.
into one of those guys. So they
Yeah,
take
they
them
gotta-
to the chapel.
Becomes like a self-preservation type of situation. Like, oh no, like,
Bert
chill in
basically
the pews, zombie.
Bert says we have to take them somewhere and lock them up because they could turn on us.
Luckily, you can tell in the scene as they're walking in, they're renovating this chapel. So luckily, there is a handy piece of plywood chilling. Like, look at that.
Well, they nailed that up. They went through the whole place and nailed up all the windows.
Well,
That's what
yeah,
that
but like
is.
there's ladders and shit in the chapel. Though. There's
They're ready
ladders.
for construction. It
Like,
definitely looks like
as
it.
if they were renovating and then they used the materials to.
So Tina basically says, "I'm staying behind because I love Freddy."
She's
I
gonna
don't know
get
what's
eaten
going
by
on.
2 zombies in a fucking chapel.
Bert tells her we have to lock the door, so that she's locked in there now. Now the police are rolling up on the scene. And you have a little bit of faith at this point.
As I did a mental count when the auxiliary paramedics showed up after the zombies' request. I counted at least 15 zombies.
Oh, yeah, easy.
That came out and tagged them. You remember?
Watch how many. I believe there's a whole row of. Eventually, there's a whole row of police that show up, and there are like shit ton of zombies that just swarm.
So
them.
you telling me this handsome dude with a mustache about to get fucking 8?
At least 8. Look at that.
They're seeping out. Oh, dude.
That was good effect.
Oh, fuck, dude.
Now the police see the zombies.
Oh.
The zombies are coming after them.
Dude. Oh.
Now they're dead. They're toast.
15.
Now Ernie's telling them that this is pointless.
What's he saying?
Send more cops.
Oh, of course. The zombies like, send more cops. The zombie cops like, send more cops.
These
Triple
guys,
9, bitches.
These guys inside have watched this happen, and now they're debating what the fuck are we gonna do because,
right?
You know, Don Calfa's character recommends hiding in the ceiling. We lock ourselves in the ceiling. They can't get to us there. But then, you know, Spider's like, we can't do that. I'd rather go to a car and get away. And now Don Calfa's character says, here's some like acid.
Let's bring in chemicals.
Let's bring in some chemicals. And they're like, well, that's not enough. But he says,
human ingenuity, bruh. Dude, she
thoughtful.
needs to get out of there, man.
She's not realizing what's going on. She's there for Freddy. Freddy turns on her. Freddy definitely turns on her.
Oh, well, he can't help himself. It's not Freddy.
I smell your brains.
Oh, here we go.
And the makeup's
Freddy's gonna
so good too. It really is for a B film.
I mean, look at Freddy. They did a really good job. Look at this.
It's very good cinematography.
Oh, I love how. See how he's.
Watch this. He turns on her. He says, "I just want to eat your brains." And now
she deflects
she's freaking out.
Deflection.
She's running around, and he's foaming at the mouth, wanting some brains. He's a zombie now. She don't know what the fuck to do because she's an idiot.
Oh, she's fending him off. Oh, I was gonna say somebody's gonna pull her out the door.
But at least they heard her. Bert whacks him. Watch this. In the background, James Karen character
runs through. They didn't even notice.
He gets right past them as they're fighting Freddy. He runs right past them. Now, his character, he brought this up to Dan O'Bannon. He said, I don't want to become a zombie. My character would rather die with dignity.
Right.
And he cremates himself.
Oh.
It was a very thoughtful...
Away, dude, that's a spoiler, dude.
Spoiler alert.
You fucking spoiled me, dude.
I had to because...
Man.
Because that was...
I remembered the scene, but I didn't remember specifically with fucking who.
I thought it was genius.
Fucked me over, dude.
I thought it was genius. I really did.
I was trying to explore that myself 18 years later.
When Don Calfa smacks Miguel.
Oh, wait. More information. Hold on.
No. It's not what you think it is.
God, look at that.
She's freaking out. He's panicking. She's flopping all over the place.
Rotted titty still
That's
great.
That's why Miguel got slapped. Spider got slapped.
What are you dropping now, dude?
The mic.
Motherfucker, man. You have one job. I love you. You didn't drop the mic. But I need to use that too. Oh, dude. They, apparently zombies can't work door handles. Well, no. They try it. But if they can't figure it out, they just go through.
Freddy's character just busted out. Don Calfa is now holding his leg. It's broken. He says, my foot's broken. I'm pretty much immovable. Now Freddy's character is busting out of the chapel through the door. That zombie is out now. They tried.
Oh, shit.
So now they're trying to figure out, We got to take one of the cars. The cop
Right.
car is still running. I love that cut.
Fuck you.
Where he says, I'll drive. And then it cuts to Bert saying, no, I'll drive. And he says, hey, man, fuck you. I love that. That made me laugh so fucking hard. Fuck you, man.
Why for that? I
Just to be funny. Later on, Miguel pulls Bert out of the Spider pulls Bert out of the car later on, and he says, come on, you stupid honky. Oh, it's funny. It's funny. The improv lines crack me up the most. Come on, you stupid honky. And he says, I'll drive. No, I'll drive. Man, fuck you. I love that cut.
I love that.
That was a genius. It was funny. He's like, hey, man, fuck you. I'll drive.
I love that. Even in the, clutches of a zombie takeover, I might die. He's going to stand up for himself. Like, no, fuck you, dude.
Yeah. He's like, no, man.
I can drive. I say I'm going to drive.
Fucking asshole. Don't believe I can drive. Now, if you notice in this scene, when Bert and Spider hop into the cop car, every time they go to back up or go forward, they honk. Do you know why? Do you know why?
So the actors know.
Exactly. So the actors know we're about to move. I thought that was genius, but it works. It works in this. You don't think about that because it's just honking, and it adds to the scene. But they're literally telling the extras, we're about to move. So watch your shit.
Yeah, be careful.
Hold on to the car if you want to. But
action's happening.
Yeah, we're moving. I love that. It made for really good car scenes with zombies. They can pile on the car, and it's safety. It's safety. And now they're busting through the cemetery gates. Going out the cemetery. Bert's gonna head for the warehouse. That's all he knows. He tries to leave town. There's too many zombies. They back up. They go to the warehouse. Let's go to the phone,
Oh, you can hear him like adding the sounds of maybe like tagging some zombies.
Yeah. Like they're.
I totally
people.
heard that.
Yeah.
Thump, bump, thump.
He crashes the cop car into the fucking building. Now it's on fire. Now, when Spider pulled Bert's character out just now, he says, come on, stupid honky.
Introduction of the, look at this.
Reunion.
Now more dialogue can be birthed.
As if any film was being made.
As
the cop car blows up. They have no options.
He's still freaking out like, this candle's electric.
That is not a real candle.
That's not, fuck this. He's like, fuck this ladder.
Now,
we'll put it right here.
Now
we're going back in the roof like I originally fucking said. Get your sweet ass up there.
Don Calfa's character is putting Tina up in the attic.
He totally touched the sweet meat of her ass, dude.
He did.
I watched it happen.
He took it. He Me Too'd it.
Dude, ooh, baby. Goodness. You should be ashamed of yourself, old man. You only do that when a lady wants you to.
Now, this is a scene where James Karen character says, I don't want to be a zombie. I'd rather just go out like this.
Yep.
And he takes his wedding ring off, kisses
Look
it.
how sweaty he is, man.
Puts it on the toggle switch.
He's like, I've been room temperature too long.
He does a prayer, and then he puts himself in the crematorium. This was genius, man. This was the actor coming up with this scene. He said, let's film that. And Dan O'Bannon's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He told him, he's like, just earlier in the films, let me have a line that says, anybody can operate that thing.
Yeah.
And then he goes back later. And I thought that was so cool of the actors. They gave that much of a fuck about the film. That's a beautiful shot.
Continuity, motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
Just like you were saying earlier.
His character gives a fuck about his life.
He made a choice, bro.
He's not willing to become a pointless fucking zombie.
He's
willing
to
cremate his body.
Or
not yet.
You motherfucker, man.
I'm having a great time with this film.
You tell me one thing and like, oh, now we're gonna drink this, and then you take fucking.
Give me a refill. Give me a refill.
Well, for the first time in forever.
What do you personally? I want to hear your personal opinion. What do you think about this film so far?
Hold my smoke. I love it. I every minute I watch into it, I remember a little bit of my. Give us a pause, brother. No, wait, nope, that's Pampers. Never mind. Every minute we go into it, I remember a little more of what I was thinking about before. when I first watched it, when I was a little kid, about 18 years ago. Matter of fact, we never said anything. Lau just had a birthday.
Hey, let's give a hand of applause for Lau
Thank you.
for his birthday.
I have made it 33 years on this earth.
Hell yeah!
33.
What a birthday present!
I know, right?
You're getting to watch a corny movie with your friend.
I got a lovely birthday present. It was a very lovely cane, which is what I am.
Lau broke his leg to the point of needing.
And I still have 2 months. I still have 2 months. I've got to use a mobility aid. I notice when I don't use it, I hurt real fucking bad. I broke my leg and ankle real bad, dude.
So you can relate to these corpses.
Oh, definitely. I know pain when your body parts
Maybe
go
you
places
should try
they
to eat
shouldn't
somebody's
be.
brain. Fuck it.
Dude. Well, I mean, when my foot turned all the way around, I wasn't thinking about brains, but I was alive and well and very much under my own chemicals in my body. Like, they protected me. That's a weird thing. My chemicals protected me from going into shock and dying from that shock. My endorphins released just in time to where I could pass out and coexist with my
If you would have
injury.
broke your leg in front of me, I would have probably put an axe in your head and made sure that the job was done.
bro. Luckily, I my friend was with me and I broke my stuff, and he was like, look at me, dude.
You're gonna be fine, bro.
He was like, look at me. We both knew that my foot was turned completely around. Fuck ice. Don't walk on ice.
Ice is about like Freddy right now, trying to get brains.
So we're in the attic now. We're in the attic.
He's Don Calfa's character Ernie is holding Tina. Freddy's trying to burst through the ceiling door.
Oh, that's when he's like,
he's gonna end her misery because this could be bad.
Because Freddy's after her.
Yeah, he knows that. He doesn't want her to suffer. She's panicking as is, so
it's like
his first instinct is
you're
to
getting
shoot
a gun held to your head, and you understand why. Doesn't that fuck you up?
That was another actor move. Don Calfa created that.
Fucking genius, dude. Genius. That is probably some of the best improv I've ever seen. Oh, Tarman. Oh, oh, look at the door. It's splattered on the door. Oh, fuck. Now, let's all press our bodies against the door. What the fuck?
I'd imagine they got some tar on their jacket.
Oh, dude. They all rubbed themselves against the door. All that splatter went on the door when they whacked his head off. They all got tar on them.
There's suicide dead.
Oh, shit. Yeah, there he is. Look at that chain piercing. That was a funny.
Kind of foretelling.
Well,
Now, Bert, they're in the basement. They're next to the containers, which release the tar man, and Bert is calling the number on the side of the
So this is like a post-foreshadowing, as that would be called. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to be pouring you a drink. Did I not do that? Motherfucker, it's your turn, bitch. No faking shots this time.
The police are on the outside of the town, and they're wondering what's going on. They don't know what's going on. They know something is bad. Bert is on the phone with them, telling them there's corpses coming to life. Send help. He can't hear them because so many people are freaking out.
Your brother.
Zombies are coming down the road. They start shooting at the zombies. Nothing's happening. The zombies just keep coming. That's what I like about these zombies.
Oh, man, they're relentless. Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Guns aren't going to help you.
They're ripping head. Oh, fuck. He hangs up the phone. He's like, listen to the massacre.
He decides to call the number on the side of the tank. He sees the number. And this is, again, earlier in the film, you see the military guy going home to his wife miserable. He's looking for the containers. they can't find them. So he finally calls the number. After all this has happened, that's got to be frustrating for the military and the army. Now
satellite calls are being. Oh shit!
They've been tracking these things since the 60s.
Do you see the snowy mountains?
Yep.
Where do you think this is?
Colorado.
Nah, too big of mountains. That's
small place, Colorado.
Ah, you're right.
It has to be.
Yeah, you're right.
Or Washington. Washington State. I like how he has his initials on his pajamas. His jammies.
Well, I mean, he makes a lot of money. He's a decorated member of the military. He's career.
There needs to be a whole spinoff on this guy.
Look at his house, dude. His wife's wearing the finest robes, and
she's like, "Do you like lamb chops?" He's like, "I had that for lunch."
Their bed is custom made, obviously.
They do live a nice life.
Remember earlier in the film, it showed his house. He's a very lavish,
very, very wealthy man.
Very wealthy, very lavish house. Very wealthy, lavish man.
I do appreciate those pajamas.
Of course, his initials are on his pajamas.
He is wearing some sort of Super Bowl ring. Yeah, I don't know what that ring is.
It's probably whatever sports he was involved in college.
He's taking information down.
In the 80s, that's the ring you had.
Bert is telling him what happened.
Right.
And he goes to the military computer and tells them, "Hey, we located him. We located the zombies."
He's opened up his China cabinet. Yep, just like in the... Yep, there he is. So I can send a fax and connect to the internet in 7 minutes.
This was the 80s, so this was like fucking Facebook for...
Dude, and then there's me in 1995 hitting the button to load up dial-up, and then I gotta go make a bologna sandwich, talk to my dad, feed my dog, and then hopefully I am connected to online. When I go back upstairs to
you might be connected to Zanga.
So, you about to get on the internet, son? Yeah, in about 15 fucking minutes, Dad.
I'll be on MySpace in 20 minutes. Don't you worry.
He's like, well, you got 25 minutes.
I just started up the computer.
Because it's almost dinner time, and after dinner time, that's my time on the computer. It's like,
did
fuck
his,
you, Dad.
Am I wrong, or did his pajamas change color?
They did.
Are they a darker
They
blue?
fucking did, dude.
They're a darker blue.
They fucking did.
That's not the lighting. That was his pajamas.
And the initials themselves were not embroidered on their edges with that color. That's a deeper, darker.
I didn't notice
midnight blue.
That's not the same pajamas.
It's not the same pajamas. Same color of white for the initials, but not the same embroiderment.
Now the Army has gotten a hold of their Minutemen.
Right.
This is a Minuteman. He's reading a comic, by the way.
And if you notice his rank on his breastplate, a Minuteman of that such in charge of this type of machinery would have way more rank than that, dude. In real life,
absolutely, yeah,
way more rank. You have to be a tenured member to be
in charge of
aiming and
nukes.
arming a weapon of fucking
mass destruction.
Yes, sir. That will fuck some shit up. You have to be. You
gotta admit,
can't be a Joe fucking schmo.
That
was computer. Yeah, that was stop motion.
That stop motion wasn't bad.
That was pretty good.
Now Bert's saying, "Hey, do you hear something?"
See the fake dirt on it. Oh fuck!
Fred finally got through the top.
Look at them fucking. Oh my god, bro.
No, they were nuked.
Wasn't that pretty? That was pretty. You know what I'm talking
about. To today's standards, that would probably be a Moab.
Wouldn't even, dude. It would be way bigger than that. I'm sorry. It'd be way bigger than that.
That was a mini nuke, if anything, a tactical nuke. They say how many blocks.
It would be even bigger than that.
Only a few blocks were destroyed. I would say it was a tactical nuke.
Not. Yeah, but that's not what it would look like in real life, bro.
I don't think they were going for realism.
You couldn't get clarity on a camera to film that shit.
They've nuked the area, but yet it's still raining. So the rain is still coming down with the trioxin. So they haven't.
So they're introducing the idea you can only kill the present members, but if you don't kill the source of what's creating them, then you're
fucked.
Essentially killing nothing.
He says he's talking over the phone, the army guy, And he says, "Oh, people's skin are burning, but that's okay."
Oh, there's the skeleton again. Ah,
in credits.
loved it, dude.
It was a great zombie film. I love the acting in this film. I love the cheesiness. It's a very good zombie film.
Fuck yeah.
It I don't know what it is about this film. It's very 80s. It's very cornball. I love it. That's all I can say about it. It's just,
Tarman.
It's wonderful.
Alan Troutman.
And that guy goes to conventions and actually walks like the Tar Man.
Good for him.
He created that character.
Yes, he did. He is the Tar Man.
This film, again, it's one of my favorites. I don't know why, I couldn't tell you, but it's just so fun. It created the brains trope for zombies. What can I say? Honestly,
I love it. I'm glad we did this one first.
it was a great film.
For our next one that we're gonna do, I'm just gonna give you a clue.
I would like to do.
If you can guess it, it's the next movie we're gonna sit and watch with each other. It's we're not gonna tell you the title, but it is Jennifer Aniston's first movie.
Yeah, well,
Her first
the
feature in a
next
feature
one,
film.
the next one we plan on doing is Jennifer Aniston's first feature film, and if you can guess that, you win.
You win. We will contact you. Yeah, you have to leave a comment. Comment
if
you know the answer. Comment.
and you comment that answer.
If you do not comment, you will not receive.
I might send
prize.
you. I might send you a copy of Return of the Living Dead.
If more than one people comment, we might pick the top 3.
Unless you would rather have
the people who commented first.
Another
I guess we'll do it by first come first serve. Do it as quick as you can. The top 3 will take
I
it.
would love to see somebody guess it. I really would. Jennifer Aniston's first feature film. It's a horror film. We're going to review that one next.
Even if you don't think that you
This
don't
one-
know it, you know it.
This one was Return of the Living Dead. I had a blast. Loud, did you
I
have
did
a
too.
blast?
I loved it.
I had a
dude.
great time.
I loved it.
Please watch this film. It's worth it. It's worth every second. It's a wonderful film, especially if you don't like zombies. I hate
Right.
zombies.
Right.
This was a wonderful zombie film. So
Loved it.
that was Cotter and Lau Scary Commentary.
Take it easy, guys.
We love you guys. Stay haunted.
Peace. Love you.